Hello, in this video we will show you how to take a payment through the FideliPay Virtual Terminal service. So first thing to do is to find the Virtual Terminal tab on your FideliPay account, which I'm on now. And here you'll see the Virtual Terminal in its fullness. So the first thing to look at is you want to look for these little red stars. So these show you where information is required. However, for the cross-reference, the star here, this is only required if you want to repeat an existing transaction. So when you do a transaction on FideliPay, you get a unique cross-reference code to be able to find that transaction through your transaction history, and also if you wanted to rerun it, you would enter it here, look up the transaction, and it would repeat the details, mostly the amount, and if there was a unique reference or order description put in, it would repeat those for you. So for a new transaction, what you need to fill in is the parts here that aren't already filled in. If these are correct, so you have transaction type, so if you want to run another kind like a pre-auth payment, you can put that through here, but mostly you're going to be doing sale. You can change your merchant country if you want, put that there, move that on GB, they're all there, it's just drop down list for all of these. Same with currency, so if you've got other currencies enabled on your merchant account, they'll all be available here. We've only got GBP here, so I'll leave that there. So capture settle, this is if you want to put a delay on when the payment is taken from your customer. So it won't reserve the amount, it will just take the money in the time that you set. So you can do an automatic collection from one of these ones, or manually when required, so you would just enable this when you needed the payment to be taken, but the amount would be saved and the card details, for example, would be saved. You could just keep it on there and automatically. We're going to leave that on automatically immediately, so the payment would be taken today from the customer. Payment type, I'm going to leave this on single payment non-recurring, but I'll show you the other types. So here is where you can set up payments for recurring agreements. So we'll go through recurring agreements in another video, but in short it's similar to a standing order. It's the best way to think about it, where a payment is taken and then say taken again for the same amount, monthly, weekly, whatever basis you want. But we'll leave this on single payment non-recurring, so it won't repeat. And then for unique reference and order description, you don't see that red star, so you don't have to fill these out, but for yourself it can be useful to put in a unique reference or an order description, so when you see the payment, you have a reference that tells you what the payment was for, or to find it in your system, because you can search that way as well. Next part is the payment details. So the virtual terminal is different to the pay by link service, which is something we'll go through in another video, in that on this one you're taking the details from your customer. So the long number, the expiry date, so month here, year here, and the security code, which is those 3 numbers on the back. So you don't always need these. You see it isn't a red star, but for a secure payment, you want to take those from your customer. Customer details, so no red stars, so you might think not required. However, as we have the little notes here, required if AVS checking on customer address and customer postcode. So those of you who are familiar with taking payments over the phone will know that you need to take the numeric characters from the street address and the postcode of your customer's registered card, so that the payment is secure as well. So the other parts of it, they're more for reference, so it might help you just to remember which payment is for which customer, but you definitely need the address and the postcode in there if you have that requirement in your preferences. That's something we'll go through in more detail in another video, but yeah, they're needed if you've got AVS checking on, basically. Other bits here, so delivery details, just show you briefly where to deliver the product that they're paying for, purchase details, if they've got any tax requirements, description of the product bought, etc. Authorization, so if authorizing offline doesn't come up much, only if you had a connection failure, which is very unlikely to happen with a virtual terminal. And custom details if you had anything else you wanted to add here. So you won't use these as much unless you want to. If you want to customize your payments, you can, but they're not required. So I'll just enter some random numbers so that we can see what it looks like when a sale goes through to processing. So I'll do 0.1 pence. I'll put this as test. Card number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, hopefully that's enough. Expiry date, I'll leave this on here. Do a random one, security code, another random one. I'll put an address here just in case. So 2 Main Road, W123AB. Nice random one. That's everything we need. I'll process transaction. So this is where you're putting the sale through by pressing this button here at the bottom. Oh, no, I do not want to save that. So obviously we're going to get transaction failed because it's an invalid card number. So if you got that error code when you're putting through a transaction from your customer, they've given you the card number incorrectly. So you just need to get them to check that and see that if it's correct or not. But you can see how it comes up. So the transaction ID gives you a number there and gives you the amount, etc. So you can check the details that you're requesting. So if it was a successful one, you'd get a successful one here. And you could get a receipt to your customer if you put their email in under customer email as well. But for all payments, you will get an email to the merchant recipient email, which I'll go through on the preferences video. But yeah, that's how you take a payment on the virtual terminal.